jump right into it. Let's just jump. I don't know. They do that on YouTube. How's it going, Rob?
Don't they say after the jump? I thought that was the thing.
No, that's when they say like, "Hey, I'll tell you this after the jump. That way you see this ad that gives us 1 cent."
Ah,
Yeah, but they
ah.
just go jump right into it, and then it's
It's a good
just,
time to mention our new sponsor, Minchscape.
"Hey
You ever got a little
YouTube,
green minch growing down, a little hairy
hey
minch growing
YouTube,
down there? No one likes a fuzzy Yoda, right? Everyone wants some
hey
smooth, right?
YouTube." Sorry,
Yeah.
I saw some
So with
YouTube today.
Minchscape, you can make your little Yoda as smooth as Grogu.
Yeah. Um, Actually, I'm curious what you think about this. I like it. I like it. I don't know. I don't know. You might. I mean, the obvious thing that you're going to say is, well, it's not Homeboy, right? But nothing's Homeboy. Um, but they put out a new Indiana Jones poster, and
Okay.
and I like it for a Disney thing that they're doing. There was they also do so I guess this is like maybe the final like theatrical poster,
They
and you
they
can see
took that Whip It Good poster we saw and they put some new poses over it, right?
it's better. No, well, no, it's better than the Whip It
looks
one.
like
The Whip It one, he looked
looks
like he
like he's
was.
gonna whip him. It looks like he's gonna whip the shit out of himself. Like,
It looks,
I
I
get
mean,
it. Yeah.
it does look a little bit like one of Bob Chapek's pubic hairs got on the film cell, and that's the whip.
Look,
But
this is
whatever.
one of those. This is one of those poses that Struzan would get, and
Yeah,
then he would redraw the pose and keep the
yeah,
face. Like he'd put on some clothes and really make the pose part more actiony,
yeah.
And so, just to, it's just look at
Look at Teddy.
that kid. He's like, I feel like there's a whip that's gonna hit me in the
And
head. I don't
then
know why. Like,
see and then like you can see like some art of like the of Indy on the horse over here. Is that maybe that's from concept art? I wonder what that's, or they
it's
just
from The Dark Knight Returns when Batman rides a horse. Just
uh
jacked.
that was
I'm not
actually a
feeling the
mule
Indiana Jones font without the outlines, by the way.
without the outline around it. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not feeling this material design version of this
right.
Apple iOS version of the Indiana Jones logo.
Yeah. We see the train over here. We could see it's like
That's
something.
the where they go back in time, the
That's where
Spartans and shit.
that's where Chris Spreezy is, I think, all the time.
That's where Socrates is or Plato, whoever the
And
fuck.
then yeah, we could see like Roman numerals around the dial of destiny. And then
It's the clock tower. It strikes at 10.
over here we got the Chinese one. And
I like this color palette.
yeah,
I'm not a fan of the photo bashing. I think that's where you start, then you hand it to someone to who's a good illustrator. But I do like the color palette on this. The
yeah,
blues, like that. Then it goes down. Man, do you imagine if like Struzan, that right there on the right, where it goes to the underwater, like he
yeah,
would have really sold that underwater
hmm,
aspect. Like I really
yeah,
like that.
yeah. It's pretty good for
Oh
for
no,
what it is,
oh
but
no, there's a rainbow on there. The woke agenda.
oh,
Oh no,
China's
that
out.
poster's banned in Florida.
All right, China just decided this one was mostly okay,
That's the novelization cover.
and
Right?
then that's my girlfriend. I don't know if you know this, but we're like in a relationship now. I'm gonna tell her about it soon. And then right here we
Future
got
Lois Lane. Future
right here we
Nazi
got Clark
Superman.
Kent. That's Clark Kent, dude. What are you talking about? Um,
So Clark Kent landed in Germany instead of what the fuck happened to Toby Jones?
yeah. So if you so this confirms. I mean, a lot of stuff from that spoiler report that we had a couple of days ago. All of that has pretty much been confirmed a couple of times now from TV spots and stuff. But right here we can see that this is Toby Jones later on. This is Toby Jones in modern 69 time, or later on, I think. Or what
I
do
see.
we? Yeah, I think that's what happened. Anyways, I can't remember now, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's him. Like, because remember he kind of like loses his mind, and
It's
so
just
that's
weird to
him.
show him with a bloodied face on the poster.
Yeah, But
like bloody him up some more. Just really fuck him up. You know what I mean? Like, remember battle damage He-Man? You'd hit him in the chest and it'd have a damage. Hit him again, more damage. The third one really damage. That's the first damage of Toby Jones. We need damage 2 or 3.
I would have probably ditched the Toby Jones one and done a Teddy, personally.
Oh right.
But that's just second guessing things. I get why they would put Antonio Banderas.
You just can't make him look ugly, right?
But
he's like that Zooey Deschanel. No, you can put all the glasses you want on her. You can make her not bathe or put on makeup, but that woman looks good. Look just like him. He's not gonna look bad.
Yeah, but this guy's barely even in the movie. It sounds like,
he's got more hair than you and me combined. Jason, look at that.
Oh yeah,
look at that.
His old sea captain. It's definitely. I'm glad. If you're gonna have this small role, and you get Antonio Banderas to play it, I'm not complaining. It's like kind of going, what was the guy's name in Raiders? Like Tatanka or something, like that guy. Who the fuck is that guy? Where did he go?
I don't know.
The guy who has the boat, at the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I want to know what happened to the guy with the plane in the beginning, right? That was his buddy, and then you never see him again. The one fishing. He's out there fishing.
Out there.
But
pet snake Reggie.
You think Antonio will play Mando's dad? Look at that.
Maybe.
Dad,
he could be. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's possible. It's totally possible. And then before we get to the Bestman Bulletin Taika story, I wanted to share this. I thought this was fun because this writer strike is going to be the theme of everything for if you're fucking talking about the future. But Writers Guild, this is from Hollywood Reporter. Writers Guild targets executive pay in letters to Netflix, Comcast shareholders. The guild is urging shareholders to reject compensation packages of top executives. I like that. I think that's fucking hilarious. If it works,
I'm all for it. Yeah.
Well, let me get down to the in the letters, which the guild said were sent to shareholders representing a majority of shares in each company. Stein noted that the disparity in what top executives were paid versus what a deal would mean for the writers who create their programming. Quote, approval of this compensation package is inappropriate in light of the ongoing WGA writer strike and the associated risks that Comcast executives are creating for investors. Shareholders should send a message to Comcast that if the company could afford to spend $130 million on executive compensations last year, it can afford to pay the estimated $34 million per year that writers are asking for in contract improvements to put an end to this disruptive strike.
Yeah, no shit.
So, but also, once again, remember, just to keep it real, not that I agree with the opposition in this instance, but that's $34 million for the writers. But then it's going to be some number like this for the directors, and then another version of that for SAG. So that's why they're being fucking numbskulls. That's why they're not. So when you really get down to it, like, I don't know what the exact number would be, but let's just do it times 3 just to be clean. So it's like essentially it's like $90 million. So they're basically saying, don't give the executives much of anything, but that's what they should do, because like I said, nobody fucking needs that much money. That's the ridiculous part about it, is they're telling the writers, oh, live on fucking $35,000 in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like, fucking eat out of the trash at Jack in the Box, so that way we can be super rich and the dream lives on. It's pretty ridiculous. But I thought that was a fun thing.
Also, not for nothing, if all your fucking employees strike, why are you getting a bonus?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do that was so good? How did you lead the company so well that your fucking breadwinners are fucking all striking? You deserve a bonus. Like, if the fucking entire Mighty Ducks go on strike, does the coach get a bonus? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I think when Black Adam makes box office records, that's when you get your fucking bonus. for you know what I mean?
Hey, you want to know something?
Mhm.
When A20 when Everything Everywhere gets a fucking Oscar for Best Picture, that's when you get a bonus, right?
Hey,
Because that should
that's a
never
pretty
have
good choice.
happened, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's not a bad movie. I'm just saying
Yeah,
it's not an Oscar baity movie. You know what I
right.
mean? It's not like when they made Radio.
It
Remember?
has hot dog hands. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I remember they're like, genre film will never win Oscar or Best Picture. I'm like, well, that one with the hot dog hands did.
Hot
So
dog
I don't
hands.
know, man. It's all up
Yeah.
for grabs now.
Right. But justice for Jock. Thank you, Asadrew. You know,
Who's
I like
Jock?
the guy in the plane with Reggie the snake and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, he's the guy who flies the plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
I
happened to
like.
him?
Oh, you don't. Oh, you didn't hear? It was cancer. It came suddenly. It's it's in a Dark
They
Horse
let
comic.
Harrison Ford write the comic.
No,
Huh?
no.
Yeah. Indiana
Yeah.
Jones and the quest for cancer. He got it.
I mean,
Book's
yeah.
over.
You know, I mean, some people in the Indiana Jones universe they just get diabetes. You know what I mean? It just fucking happens, dude. You know, and but
yeah, I totally understand. Jason.
I know
You
you
know?
do, George.
Yeah. Sometimes you just, no matter what you try to do to eat properly, you get a little noodle, you get a little shabu shabu, but you still got it. You can't get rid of it. You can't shake the diabetes.
Yeah. Guess what, George?
Huh?
Taika's got an idea.
I don't know whether to like that sweater or kill it.
I know. You know,
Yeah.
I was looking at it. I'm like, you know, the problem is with that sweater. He needs like a hat or a bunch of hair.
Oh yeah.
You can't wear that
Yeah.
sweater without a hat or a bunch of hair. Trust me, I know. Every now and then I put on like a sweater and I don't have my hat on, and I'm like,
Well,
thanks
yeah,
God.
He could use a Padawan braid too, right?
Patty Wan braid.
I heard him say Padawan once, and I was like, I'm never letting that go. You said it.
Patty Wan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine what that guy's like notepad on his phone looks like when he's just taking a shit. He's all around crystal skulls, patty wans, there's all kinds of ridiculous things on. Yeah, George's iPhone, like yellow little notepad thing. It's got to be fucking batshit insane if you just have no context for any of it.
I like to imagine that he used an Apple Newton until one of his kids forced him on an iPhone.
I'll never give up my Crackberry. No, come on, dude. It's 2023, bro. But yeah. I mean, George probably was pretty up on that stuff. They probably were sending him the stuff. Like he probably. I remember. God, which one was it? There was one year, when before Disney, I think he bought like everybody in the company an iPhone. So he was pretty about it.
Do you think he owned a video game console? Like, did he ever play the games?
I know Jet did. Yeah. No, I've heard of Steven Spielberg playing the famous stories where he seduces Kate Capshaw with his fucking Frogger skills or something. I guess that works on Kate Capshaw. But I'm gonna say George probably really didn't. I don't know for certain, but I mean, like he obviously like understood it and was interested in it, but I always got the impression it was from like a captain of industry perspective as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like I play video games because I've never heard of him like, really being influenced by a game or loving a game or citing a game or Spielberg playing games with them or anything, So
what if he was just really into like Battlehawks or Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe, right? Like the early LucasArts flight simulators, but he rejects the Star Wars games. He just
most likely he just sucked at him and was like, oh, these little zips, zaps, and zooms. I don't get it. No, I don't know though. Like I mean he's it's like that's really
true.
weird.
No, I was a really big fan of Defenders of Dynatron City.
That was good.
I tried. No one wanted it.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed.
They wanted
Defenders.
Rebel Assault. Rebel Assault X-wing.
I really like the Dino Riders toy line. You remember that, George? It was pretty good.
Dino, Garbage
Yeah,
Pail Kids.
they were like dinosaurs. Like I had like a Brontosaurus, and then it had like
the
a
one with the plants. So they eat the.
No, that was Jason. That was Jason the Will Warriors, which I was obligated to like because my name is Jace.
Right.
So I felt, a kinship, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
That's when we were all laughing at Kenner in those days when they didn't have anything going on.
That was your fault.
I would just walk to Toys R Us and
because of you.
Look at that big void where all our merch used to be and nothing.
Well, it was full of Dulocs and cartoon Ewok figures because they trusted you.
They couldn't do nothing without me.
They did have gold collector's coins though, which they maybe could have passed off as real currency if nobody was paying attention.
To be fair, we all stole that from the John Birch Society, but
God,
cancel himself. He keeps going there.
There was this time, man. This one hurts. I wanted to mail away for. You were able to mail away for all of the coins in the Power of the Force Star Wars line. We had the order form for it. And my grandfather was like seriously considered like going through like getting it for me. It didn't get it, but when it came like all of the coins like in a thing. That's got to be worth like I don't know. I could probably buy whales for it, and become the king of Bespin Bulletin.
The only thing I ever got that had I kept in the original packaging, I could probably move for like $1,000 or something. Was but yeah, I didn't keep in the package because I was a kid. There was a mail away thing for this Transformers Decepticon that was a camera. It was called like Perceptor or something like that. It was like three little dudes that turned into a camera.
I remember that.
I somehow got my dad to like get it right, and this thing arrives like fucking half a year later in a cardboard packaging. Didn't even have a box, right? Like it just showed up. So I was like, all right, but like if you got that sealed, you got some money. Like you know what I mean? Like I wish I had just kept it because it wasn't fun. It wasn't like I thought maybe you could look through it. Maybe you could take like you couldn't even look through it. It wasn't even a good fake camera,
Yeah. But the Power of the Force 85 stuff, all of that is super cash. All of that's like really, really expensive shit.
All that stuff that was in KBs for nothing?
For that one was the Power of the Force 85. My
fat uncle took me to every KBs to dig through those bins, bro.
Well, yeah, that it was kind of weird because like there were some that like stuck around that didn't move, and then there were others though that did like because they were ones that we always wanted, like Luke Stormtrooper, Luke with the poncho, the from Return of the Jedi, like those ones were like figures that we actually wanted. But but you would see like Ramba, this one like Ewok, he was just fucking everywhere. But anyways, Bespin says Jason might pull off the sweater, but he's not getting anything close to Rita Ora and Tessa Thompson. He'll have to settle for Marissa Tomei. I'll settle for Marissa Tomei forever. Yeah.
How is Marissa Tomei a downgrade? Are you out your fucking?
Well, he's Costanza, so he's had it. You know what I mean? He's been there. All right.
She had me in that movie Oscar.
She was Jake Lloyd's mom in what was it called? Something the Stars. It was one of the movies before Phantom Menace. Taika Waititi confirms he's still working on his Star Wars movie. I got a really good idea. Oh, and by the way, chat, if you have a massive criticism of Taika about why his movie's going to suck, but it's only based off of the one Marvel film or the two Marvel films, it doesn't apply.
Let's be honest, they all loved the first Marvel film.
Yeah, the first one's great.
Yeah,
the first one's great.
One they didn't like. Like just remember, James Mangold made a shitty Wolverine movie before he made a great Wolverine movie.
Well, to be fair, they're saying he made a shitty Indiana Jones movie. That's what they're saying.
So next, he's gonna make the good one. It'll have to be a Star Wars movie. He'll make Dr. Aphra next and fix it. Right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay. The article. This is from BestBenBulletin.com. It's been over 3 years since Lucasfilm officially announced that acclaimed writer and director Taika Waititi had signed on to co-write and direct a Star Wars movie. Over the course of those 3 years, we've learned very little about the project and have seen little to no progression in regards to the feature film making it on the big screen. Despite Lucasfilm announcing a handful of new movies at this year's Star Wars celebration, which Waititi's film was not part of, the Thor Love and Thunder director has confirmed to Hollywood Reporter that he's still, in fact, working on the untitled movie. There's a writer's strike, bro. What are you doing? Before we continued with the Waititi news, give him money.
This guy. I know everyone's out there doing the whole striking thing, but I thought I'd just hit down and have a little write. Like, he's out there writing the script while he's striking, taking a break, working on the script.
Everything is just like chance, hell no, we won't go. It's shit like that. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's working out the dialogue on his
his Star Wars movie is about a picket line. So anyways, you could support Bespin on Patreon or Coffee. I suggest doing it on Patreon because fuck coffee. In a recent interview with THR, Waititi was asked about his long in development Star Wars feature, along with a bevy of other projects his name has been attached to. Regarding his long overdue Star Wars flick, Waititi confirmed to the outlet that he's still working on the highly anticipated project, with Waititi saying, "I've got a really good idea for it. It's just, with all films, it's the middle part. You're like, what's going to happen?" And then you look at all of those Star Wars films.
And that's where ChatGPT comes in.
Yeah.
You're like, no, Taika, we're striking against that. No. It just fills in the middle like a pop.
Yeah.
Like, I've got the icing in the pastry and it gives me the filling. Nothing important. You're just like, what are you doing?
So he says, what's going to happen? And then you look at all of those Star Wars films that are so great and you're like, well, I guess they can't meet a smuggler with an alien sidekick. And I'm gonna assume he's gonna get into this, but he does get into it right here. Waititi's latest comments about his Star Wars effort echo that of Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, who recently claimed that Taika was a slow writer and that his script simply needs a third act. However, from what we can gather from Waititi's comments, he's not quite made it to the third act, and he's still figuring out the second. This shouldn't come as much of a surprise, given that it appears Taika Waititi is seemingly now writing his Star Wars film alone and is no longer penning the project with 1917 scribe Christy Wilson Cairns, who was working with the Jojo Rabbit on the movie until at least the tail end of the last year. So anyways, the thing about that is if you just look at, I think it's a structural issue is what he's most likely dealing with. I don't think this is even something where she's saying the wrong thing and he's saying the correct thing. Most likely the third act is
from here to get him from here to there, right?
Most likely the third act isn't coming about in the correct way because the second act isn't wrapping up correctly. So he probably needs to fix that thing to make that thing work. That's probably where they're at, I'm
going to go out on a limb, Jason, and say he's probably not a sequence-driven writer.
I don't know. I don't know if he goes to make a Star Wars thing and he embraces that and that's like the challenge and what makes it new. I don't know. But also we don't know what his idea is. He doesn't share that. So
because all you need is like 8 mini movies and then you put them together and you got a movie. That's
true.
how it works.
But they did that with Indiana Jones, and they were not happy about it.
How about 8 thrilling mini movies? Like
but I'm really curious because over the last year we've had a long, I think, continuing conversation about sequence-driven films, and that's what Indiana Jones is, and I think it's getting shredded for it. I think these critics don't know how to critique it. And so they just say that there is nothing there. Like if you read every review, they're like, they praise it for 1 second for being an Indiana Jones movie. Like it's an Indiana Jones movie. And then they shit on it after that for literally being an Indiana Jones movie. And I'm thinking that that might be where it might be kind of passé to do that, I don't know. But anyways, back to Bestman Bulletin. I do not know this, but I assume that Taika began a rewrite on the project. Maybe at the end of last year or the start of this, given the departure of Wilson Cairns, who worked on the project with Waititi for over 2 years, and the fact that Taika is now only penning the second act after 3 years of work. And also, one thing I just want to throw out there too is there's always a chance that she's going to come in after he's done, and that's where they're at with their thing too. And he's doing this part all on his own. That she's not out. She might not be out. Just saying.
I have this vision that Taika was all done, ready to take my script to the studio, and saw the fucking the Lindelof, firing and all that shit. And he sits there and looks at the camera and then slowly puts his script in the bin,
Yeah. I hope he got on the phone and he called up like Walt and said, "Hey, I always thought you guys really got the shaft on Lost. I really liked your characters a lot." All right. It's also worth mentioning that the current Writers Guild of America strike, which forbids the filmmakers from continuing to work on a script until an agreement is made between the guild and the film and television studios. In a THR piece, Taika Waititi reveals that the WGA strike is providing the filmmaker an opportunity to go on vacation and to spend some time with his pop star wife, Rita Ora.
That's a way to look at it.
For the most part, that's why that's Bespin Bulletin for you. For the most part, I would like to take a few holidays and go and follow Rita around, just be her little toy boy, and hang out with her and just watch her perform. And he means fellatio and other women, and I'm there for it. And get her a cup of tea backstage. Given the aforementioned strike and where the writer-director is writing in process of his Star Wars script, it's more than likely that he will not complete the script for quite some time. And before we mention the growing list of additional projects he's set to write and or direct, obviously, if there's a strike for a year, it can't be done for over a year, right? So you're not wrong, Mr. Bespin. But the one thing that I would say is if it's a structural issue, and if it's like an aha idea, it needs that thing, and he hasn't come up with that thing hasn't landed, that may land in his brain over the course of this. So maybe in the big picture, it's going to actually be a good thing for that script itself. You know what I'm saying? The fact that,
you know who talked about this was I was listening to an older interview with Vince Gilligan when the first writer strike happened. And he had been busy shooting out on set. And the writers he kind of left them behind. There was like 4 of them. They had like a 4-writers room. And when the strike happened, he was able to go back and like look at what they were doing. It was like, oh no, yeah. So like that did give them a chance to like restructure that season a bit.
Right. Bespin says, "Whatever I say or do, I get criticized." Criticized has a Z in it. You fucking idiot. What are you trying to write right here?
Oh, he's having an existential moment. We're not criticizing you. That's been like
no, I'm just.
You want some criticizing?
Yeah. You know what? Maybe you ain't built for this. Maybe you ain't made for this.
You got a Patreon that has no tears. I mean, I don't know, no rewards.
Well, I mean, he doesn't need the tears because he's got them. He's crying. I got you.
What do I get for it? Nothing. Great. I'll go. I'll sign up right now.
Hey, let's do it. No. Hey, no.
Now we criticize
you are supporting Bespin for this article, for this work. You're saying, you know what? I'd rather just use the Patreon as the platform to support the website. It's completely fair. And I will say it sucks honoring tears and all that shit. Fuck that. Okay, anyways, as of today, there are at least 4 Star Wars movies in development. The Daisy Ridley-led New Jedi Order movie set after the events of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, Dave Filoni's Mandoverse crossover flick, James Mangold's movie that focuses on the first ever Jedi. His name is Steve. I'm Steve. I'm the first ever Jedi. And of course,
what if it's Minecraft Steve?
Minecraft
hey,
Steve.
We're making this for the kids. Yeah.
I was just digging down here and I found a kyber crystal. Okay.
I found all these sabers buried 100 years ago.
Yeah.
This takes place in the past. It loops. The Star Wars universe loops.
In addition, Ryan Johnson is still slated to pen a Star Wars trilogy, but his busy schedule with Knives Out franchise and Peacock series Poker Face have prevented him from breaking ground on the 3 movies, and Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron film could be repurposed into a Disney Plus series. Taika Waititi's next directorial effort, Next Goal Wins, is slated to release on November 17th in cinemas. So, hey, you know what just happened right now? So my daughter told me she's getting her mom is picking her up, and I never confirmed that with the mom. So I just need to make sure, because I said my alarm go up. I'm like, why is my alarm going up? I'm like, oh, it's the early day today at school. But yeah, no, everybody should. Bestman says, don't support me. It's cool. I think that's reverse psychology. It's honestly one of the last ditch efforts before I pack Bestman Bulletin in. Nope, you're not allowed to. And people should support bestmanbulletin.com. But yeah, we were talking yesterday, and it occurred to I mean, it's always been like below the surface here for like both of us, but when we were talking about it, and I was like, when they made those announcements at Celebration, like the Waititi film was there, but they obviously didn't want to invite Taika Waititi out to a thing where he has nothing to say and nothing to like do. So when you look at that and you just contextualize it in reality, they just have a bunch of movies in development, and they're just going to see what happens. At the end of the day, there is no. That's why we don't have release dates. That's why we don't have, like, it's all just a bunch of random fucking hoping for the best. And obviously, I would say the Rey film is a promise. Daisy Ridley's back. They're going that far with it and stuff. But
There, Bestman, I subscribe to your Patreon, right? Like, relax.
Yeah, you got you,
man. He's so rational when he's on the show, but get him in that chat room, man.
Yeah, well, we brought up Marissa Tomei, so
you bought Marissa Tomei. She was on eBay. We just bought her. We both went in on it, and now I can't pay rent.
Yeah. Iris says, I bet you there are 100,000 writers and directors dying for Taika's spot. Get rid of the moron and stop wasting time. He's clearly he doesn't deserve it. No, that isn't true. Taika has made more good, stellar movies than most filmmakers will make in their whole lives, and he's done that in a very short time. Now, he might just fucking burn out and not do anything good. He might not ever deliver a great film for a studio like Disney ever again. That's completely possible. Making, a tent pole blockbuster fucking style film in a huge franchise may not be his wheelhouse when all is said and done. But that first Thor is really good. The second one is only not good because people don't like what it is, and that's romantic comedy, a rom-com with the superhero genre mashup. That experiment doesn't work, in my opinion, but that's not his fault. I don't think he did the experiment poorly, but that's what Marvel does, and sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. But all right, I guess I am gotta go because it's an early day, and I don't know if...
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to continue, and I can come right back. I only got to go over like 5 minutes, but I mean, nobody's like 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, I can hold the show for 5 minutes.
All right. I'll be right back.
All right, everybody. Who wants to talk about Avatar? Huh? Who wants to talk about Avatar? Yeah, Bestman, join in. We'll talk. Time to kill the count. All righty. Remember back in December? Actually, no. There's a magazine called Before and Afters. I don't even know how to send you a link, man. Like, let me go. Invite, copy. Oh, I see how. I'll send it to you on Twitter. Anyway, there's a magazine called Before and Afters, and you can buy it on Amazon. Before and Afters, like $12, independently made. Closest thing you can get to Cinefex magazine. And in this issue, they actually got MODOK on the cover because they interviewed the VFX guys behind MODOK. Digital Domain did that. So like you should definitely check that out. But there's a whole thing on Avatar about how they had real-time compositing. Real-time compositing. So I've ordered a copy. I'm going to get it in and dig through that. But apparently they developed some custom real-time compositing software on the Avatar stuff. What have I been you have been watching from Rob? I don't know what you're talking about. But with MODOK, apparently, I haven't read it yet, but what I know is that apparently they used, I think they used AI on the face, like some kind of sort of frame generation to do some of that deep faking on the face. It looked like a deep fake face because it looked weird. You know, it wasn't sculpted. It looked like it was, stamped on in real time. So weird. But I'm going to dig into that and get the whole breakdown in a future episode. Before and afters. Let me get you the link. Before and afters.com. Before and afters VFX magazine. One guy makes this, man. Like I said, they're the ones that had the podcast called Hugo's Desk, which is really, really good. Oh, Bespin's here.
All right.
Hey, what up, Bespin?
I'm just here to help you out, so
See, you got my $3. You got my $3.
This is the service you get.
Don't say I don't support you.
I come on a whim. As many people know. So, what are you talking about anyway? I missed the last 2 minutes.
I was talking about an article that's in the new issue of Before and Afters magazine.
Mm-hmm.
They interviewed Weta on Avatar, but they apparently had some form of real-time compositing going on the film. Like they developed something custom on that one. So it arrives from Amazon, sooner or later. However fast that goes, like $12. But and they have real-time depth compositing and a new facial animation tool set, so they get in on that. And then they also spoke to Digital Domain about machine learning research to use on Ant-Man and the Wasp, She-Hulk and the Quarry. So when people don't like, my guess is that's how they're doing the Hulk and all that stuff, She-Hulk on a budget, right? Mm-hmm. Like they found a budget way, and people go, it looks cheap. Well, yeah, because they did it on a budget. It looks like TV grade, but they moved the TV grade stuff up to the film because with MODOK, probably I don't know, for time or just for experimentation. The hell I know. And mixed results, right? Like, mm-hmm. Like middling results. What would you say? Mixed to middling. Yeah.
Well, they even
but it's a physical magazine. There's no digital, copy, so I gotta wait for that shit to arrive.
Marvel being pretty open. They said that they kind of took a lot of the visual effects teams that was working on Ant-Man and put them all on Black Panther. They also did it to She-Hulk as well, so they focused their priorities on the one movie instead of those two projects. And I think you can really tell as well. The visual effects are a lot better in Wakanda Forever in comparison to Ant-Man. And I was telling Jason this the other day. I think once this writer's strike is over, I think in an attempt to rush out content for streaming services, especially, I think you're going to see Disney return back to the bad VFX that we had with Kenobi, Boba Fett, and some of the Marvel shows. I think that in order to churn out the content as quickly as they want to, because you look at Kenobi, had 6 months in post-production, which is nothing, and then you look at something like Mando 3, which had an entire year in post, and it looks far, far better. I think we're going to return to those sort of times. That's one of my theories I've had anyway. Jason seems to agree, I believe. Sorry about the ding.
It's an ultra simplification of the process, obviously, for time and just for clarity. But like, there's work that's handed out that's subcontracted out, right? So
Mhm.
we don't know who's subcontracted on certain gigs, right? Like the Kenobi work could have been handled directly in LA, but they also could have subcontracted out to 3 or 4 smaller studios that are working with them. So it's so that's the problem when we don't have a Cinefex
Mhm.
magazine, someone with some industry clout that can go in, that can fund a journalist, as you know, fund them to go around the world to these studios, see their setups, take photographs, be there on set during the filming, speak to the different houses as much as you can. Like Cinefex always kind of covered up like the India shops that would be set up to do like
Mhm.
cheap 3D work and shit like that. But we would get really in-depth looks at that beyond the freaking Star Wars gallery videos, which I hate. I hate the Star Wars Galaxy videos. I really, I really wish they would just sit whoever was at ILM down or whoever else the visual effects supervisors and just talk with them about specific shots versus that stuff.
Yeah, I was really
Um,
hoping we'd get like an in-depth, like maybe like an hour and 30 minute long. I don't know, like analysis of Andor from them. Like, because I don't like
well,
you. I don't really like the Mandalorian galleries either. Um, I
right.
think they're like very superficial and subpar. But like with the people who worked on Andor, like I've listened to various interviews with Gilroy and Nicholas Patel, and like a bunch of people who worked on that show in various degrees in various parts of the production. But yeah, I would love to see something a bit more in depth be made at Disney Plus. Like even if it's just a documentary currently just on the focus on ILM now, you know.
Well, I
But,
can show you this, right? If you like that, Before and Afters also has a podcast,
mhm.
and on the recent episode, which I just got like yesterday, so I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm going to. They speak to Scott Pritchard from ILM about the real world locales that were used for Coruscant.
Mhm.
So they're going to get into that on that episode. This is Before and Afters, and you can see here, like, here's some of the slides, like,
Yeah,
right? Check this out. Like, that's the real world, and
yeah,
then
we had
that. Let
those
me see if I can
locations right
zoom
there.
in.
Like Nick went and visited them for me, like to show
But
what
this is
they
what we
look
used
like
to
with a
get in
3D effect.
Cinefx. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah,
not getting this. Should be on StarWars.com.
they should.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The day the shit launches. So
Well,
let's go here. Let's look at this one. Look at this one.
everything is half-assed these days, Rob.
I love I love these shots, dude. Like just the way the light hits. It does, like it feels real
Hmm.
because it's real light. Like what's
Wait,
this
is
one?
this
Oh,
Avatar?
we know this one. No, this is Andor. This is the real world location shots and the digital stuff. So Before and Afters recently did a podcast with Scott Pritchard from ILM going over all this stuff. So
Yeah.
they put this up on their site. So you can see like that one and boom.
Do they have one with like a naked lady, like where you move it and the dress comes off like those lighters in the 80s?
They do. Well, it's a Gungan lady, but yeah,
Oh,
they got
okay.
one.
Okay.
You start with a wireframe, right? And then you go
Yeah.
over and it's right? It does that noise and shit. It's the
Yeah.
best. But this is the issue I'm gonna get. I bought it. It's on the way. Issue
Oh, yeah?
11. They cover MODOK, but they cover Weta's real-time depth compositing and new facial animation toolset that was used on Avatar, which I want to read up on that. And then Digital Domain's machine learning research used on Ant-Man and the Wasp, She-Hulk, and The Quarry. Machine learning, some form of deep, because that looks like weird deep fake, right? It's like I want to see how, yeah. So, but that's their magazine, dude. I don't make any money out. It's like $12, dude. This is like one guy does all this stuff. This is the only thing we have that's close to Cinefex magazine,
Right.
Before and Afters. So I'm gonna
It's
pimp
pretty
them
cool,
any
though.
chance I get. Yeah, they're super dope. We can get back to
Yeah.
Taika if you want.
Oh no. Hey, how's it going, Bespin?
It's all good. Rob gave me money, and then I showed up. So
Oh,
He's paid
Listen
for
to-
this appearance, essentially.
See what happens, guys. If you guys are support him on Patreon, he'll show up at your house.
He'll show up at your house.
I mean, that's how I got all the Kenobi spoilers. I just gave him a coffee and he came over and he told me everything from Kenobi, and then I put it out like it was mine. But you know,
this is the real-time depth compositing software they use on Avatar. I imagine for the 3D, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the hardest things to do when filming a scene that features live action and CG characters is ensuring you can visualize how they interact together. It can be difficult to place real-world objects in the correct screen space in what will eventually be a CG environment. On James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water, WetFX was able to solve this problem and allow the director to more accurately frame and block the scenes that had been both live action and CG characters by implementing an on-set real-time depth compositing solution. The aims of the tools provide for a real-time composite in camera and 3D space with pixel-perfect occlusions without the need for blue screen or green screen. What the fuck? This was made possible via a link up between two computer vision cameras calibrated with the main cinema stereo cameras and the development of a trained deep learning model, AI again, motherfucker, made up of thousands of synthetic images generated from characters to set scans to process the stereo images and generate a youthful depth map. So they took all the shit that they designed, plugged it into their own AI stuff, and it was able to figure out the depth in real time so they can tune it. Before, how they used to do it was just use two cameras, and they'd have a beam splinter in the center, and they'd have to like focus almost in real time or in real time. They have to focus between the beam splitter to adjust depth, and they would have maybe software that would help them with that to an extent. But this, there was always post that they have to like take that data into post and go through a whole compositing pass. But this is being done now on set in real time.
Well,
that's nuts. So it's rebuilding the 3D environments.
Remember
with AI.
Remember when like blue screen was everything, and then the green screen came, and then the green screen guy was laughing at the blue screen guy.
This is the AI screen.
Take that, green screen guy. now your kids aren't going to college.
Just remember, when you say this looks like the Predator's vision, James Cameron came up with the Predator face. He's the one that solved the mandible thing because it looked like a giant locust before. And he was the one who was like, there's this fish underwater. It's really cool. Like, and he like did the mandible bits. Like he came up with that. So the Predator, yeah, little Predator time. So this is a dope magazine. Like I said, I got this on the way. I'm going to read this and go through it. But there's a little bit of the article here when they interview. I don't know if you guys are all into this technical shit, but
depends.
They do get
in
with
theory. I think it's interesting when you see like where things are going and how things are going to be made next. That's definitely cool. I don't think people understand to put it into dumb Jason terms, that like depth of field and stuff like that. If you look at like the shots of Coruscant from Revenge of the Sith compared to Attack of the Clones, you know how much better it looks, and you don't know why. It's because of that. But now they're able to do that in real time, is what we're taking away from this, right? Now they're going to be able to like set that up in like real time and know kind of what they're shooting from the Coruscant balcony. That's what it, if they were filming on Coruscant,
for
right?
3D.
Yeah,
for 3D. So they're able to generate in real time what those high end locations will look like three-dimensionally based off images that they've rendered out or pre-designed, and so the AI can calculate that to get the depth.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, that's a world of difference when you see them, even in Avatar, when they're like falling on, like when they land on rock and there's shit going on in the background, like it all works, as opposed to even when they're underwater. It's way different than when you watch the Little Mermaid footage in 3D, where it feels like someone's sitting on a set looking around at stuff. Like it's totally different. But this is will this have any effect on like on like the work that would go on in the volume, or is that completely would that be a completely different? No, this is
like
strictly for 3D stuff. But I could imagine, like maybe there's a way, you know how like you said with the volume, they have to build everything in advance, right? To place it in the scene. what if like they're able to take concept art in a way, right? Like even like the low rendered 3D concept art, and it's able to calculate that and build the assets that aren't final, but give them those. You know what I mean? Like there might be a way to do that sooner than later.
Yeah.
But they are
Yeah.
training it on their own shit, so whatever.
So it was a good thing. I got Penny because she's all, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna get her. She doesn't know that it's an early day. I got her. Yeah, I'm the good parent for once. All right, Bespin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what old man Richie asked? He said, "Has Acolyte completed shooting?"
I don't know. Most of the people over there are busy with like Ghostbusters at Shinfield.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some. I've showed you before, like some of the sets, and they've got a bit. Lucasfilm at least. Remember I was getting those pictures of the Acolyte set.
Yeah.
Like,
The drone like pictures and
yeah.
stuff that were cool.
Shit stopped. You know, it's like I can't even like tell you from that way.
Did they train a fucking falcon or an eagle to go and like and take the drone down?
They sent a Megazord to sort it out.
Yeah.
You don't know what a Megazord is?
Mm-hmm. From Power Rangers, right?
Yes, that's it. I was hoping you knew because maybe it was after your time. I don't know.
Oh, I know. I know
audio.
Rita. I know Rita.
I want the audio clip sampled out. Do you know what a Megazord is?
Yeah. So no, that's gone. So I don't really know. They told us when they started filming. They told us late. Like they started. I think it was like at least a week before they announced it, like publicly on StarWars.com.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's a chance they tell us themselves if it's over. It was supposed to finish this month. Hesland said it on stage at Celebration.
Yeah.
So it should be done. And it seems as if they were a little bit ahead of schedule because not ahead of schedule, but Daphne Keane at the time was saying it's supposed to finish in April, and then they were like, no, it's going to be May. So I doubt it's dragged on into June or further. Because she can't obviously do rewrites. She can't change how certain scenes are, but which I think is why they wanted it done by or within May. Anyway,
Taika can though, right?
You can, yeah. We'll send Rob over to finish Acolyte.
You know, I'm still confused about that thing that we talked about yesterday. That tweet that I sent you, Bespin,
The Rebels one.
From Rebels, yeah. Like, how are they able to do that? Is it because it's animation? Does that circumvent live action like stuff, and therefore it's like a different thing?
It shouldn't. Like, it's just so right in for a television series. It's still going to be released by the company like Disney. It's still going to
they're what do they call them, a signature or something like that? Yeah. So it's like, I'm still curious about how that happened or how that even went down. I guess they just decided to hire people that weren't in the No, but that guy's in the WGA. He was talking about it. So that sounds like it's sketchy either way, right? Like whatever whatever it was.
As a sketchy guy, I can confirm that.
Sketchcraft, yeah. Like when and it doesn't surprise me. Like I said on the show before, I ran into Dave Filoni on the street in San Diego. Started talking one day. That's how it's happened. And he was just like, he was really nervous about Rebels because they took all the money away. He didn't explicitly say that, but that was every single thing that we talked about was referencing that. And so he was like kind of nervous about how it was going to be received at the time, because they were clearly not doing it how they had done things before. But at the same time, I could kind of see Clone Wars having been done that way too, because Lucas wasn't a fan of Lucas left the DGA. You know what I mean? He wasn't. He circumvented the guilds often in his career.
So what you're telling me is Dave Filoni is a source of yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm conversations with him on the street. He's waving at you and the kids like when you're on top of that car park.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as a dapper hobo. Know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I just get on the train. I just go traveling. Yeah, I went to San Diego. I saw Jason. I complained about the money, which, is my favorite thing to do. They ain't spending enough money. You ain't spending it. But check it out, Jason. They spending the money now on my new movie. Oh, my
Oh
God.
man!
Nano
Oh, look at
forever.
it! Nano forever. Oh
Nano
wow!
Grogu gonna get some nipples. Oh, we got the money
Yeah.
for it, Jason. Can't wait. Look how smooth he is.
Yeah, we came to the conclusion, or I did anyways, that Alfred, that's my favorite Alfred, because he gave his niece in the movie nipples on her costume. Think about it, right?
So they didn't complain when that was in the budget. Yeah. They didn't complain.
There's always that one uncle.
Alfred, that Alfred was the one. You think he's got to be Michael? Was this Michael King? Michael Caine? Yeah, but no, not Michael Caine. No, it was the old one.
No, it was Michael old guy. Yeah, he was the best. Yeah, Michael old guy. Hey, I gotta go make I'm in the Directors Guild now, Jason. I always wanted to be.
Jedi Mike reminds me. I saw it from our buddy Azatru today. I was like, I needed my dose of the As a Truth, and I got it. So ILM X Labs, we were asking about like what's up with them. Like we haven't heard anything from them in quite a while, and ILM X Labs has rebranded themselves now to ILM Immersive, and it still has like that X on the logo. Like you can kind of see it here. So it's the X on the logo. But ILM Immersive, and the assumption I've seen going around, this isn't my original thought, I think I saw Peter Scretta suggested at least that the augmented reality headset thing is coming out from Apple next week. They're gonna do like a big announcement, being revealed, and that is probably why they probably are gearing out of exclusively looking as appearing to be a VR company and going more, broader in that way.
I don't like augmented reality. I don't like it.
It does. It could be done well, but I think that we're just moving into more of like VR headsets being on glasses with augmented reality, because like you could use the pass through on your Oculus Quest or in your Quest 2 to do augmented reality. Hey Penny, want to come and give your Star Wars update? I got a big Star Wars update today. There was Star Wars music at school. I got no other context. I don't know why. I asked her why. She has no idea. But Star Wars music was at school. That happened. So all your Star Wars elementary school updates. You need something, Penny? You good?
Can you tell Mom that
I did, and she said I'm gonna get her, and I said I already got her, and then she said, oh man, she's gonna kill me, and I said, yeah, you're dead. So if I were you, I would act like all mad like this, and tell her when we go to see Spider-Verse tomorrow, she's got to buy us hot dogs or something. That's what I would do. I would parlay that into something for Daddy. Yeah.
Jesus, doing everything wrong.
What?
The divorce parenting.
No. I just spent $60 on Spider-Verse tickets to sit in the very front.
Why? Why the front?
They're all sold out. Spider-Verse is on fire. I'm happy for it, but it's my we were gonna go, and at first it was just like, we're gonna go see it, cool, like not like a big deal. Wasn't totally worried about Spider-Verse in the biggest way. I'm like, we'll catch it when it comes out that week. Well, me and the kids will go see it. Then my son's been like really sick. He got some kind of virus or something, and last night I get this text message from him, and it's like, he's all under the weather and stuff, and then he's like, what's he say? He goes, Dad, when do we see the Spider-Verse? And I was like, I guess Thursday. He's like, I'm so excited. I love you. And I was like, oh man, I got Ferris Buellered. So I was like, we have to go on the first day, you know. Like in his whole life, he's never cared about going to a movie on the first day. That's never been like a thing that he's
great
brought
3D
up.
conversion, that first movie too. I own the 3D Blu-ray. It's really good.
Yeah. I don't think there's 3D screenings of this, is there?
I haven't been able to find one.
Yeah, my theater didn't have it in 3D.
Yeah.
But every ticket was pretty much sold out, you know. That was not like on the sides, like on the very side, you know what I mean? Like all of the middle seat stuff for every screening tomorrow is done. So, you know. But
you underestimated the nerds, Jason. You underestimated.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean that first Spider-Verse movie is so good. It's clearly like built an audience,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it's
The
coming.
opening weekend is looking to do triple of what the original did. So
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I got to see the original like a week early, and it was in 3D. And yeah, it was disappointing. Not enough people were talking about it at the time. Like, but on just 2 release,
Right.
Because I think they were trying to get people to see it and build a word of mouth.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's fantastic. I'm really pleased to see it doing so well already.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it sounds like it delivers from all the reviews and reactions that's come out over the past week. You know, it sounds like it's not a sequel slump. You know, it might even be better than its predecessor.
Yeah. A friend of mine saw it and texted me, said it's like Empire Strikes Back equivalent for that universe.
Which
and
is what they've been saying as well. So it's glad that that's true, not just a line for marketing. You know.
Yeah, all the same. The person also told me Flash isn't the best superhero movie of all time. It's really good, but like not the best superhero movie of all time. You know how people were saying that, and same. So I was like, okay, but they're saying that this is better. They're saying,
we both had friends who saw Flash recently.
Yeah,
the guy who I know who went and saw it said like he loved it, and it's super emotional. And Ezra Miller is great, annoyingly to that guy because he said he wanted to hate Ezra Miller. He's actually very good. Geek stuff is great. And he thinks a lot of people are going to be emotional from watching it. He didn't tell me the context. We know the story side assume is probably Barry and his mother. But yeah. We got like good films coming out. You know? Fast and Furious just came out last week. You know? Transformers in 2 weeks.
No, it was me. Admit it. It was me. I saw the Flash and I told you I was cool. I was cool if Ezra gonna kidnap me. You know what I'm saying? He could just take me to an island and feed me bullets. I'll eat them.
You're a little baby bullet biter, aren't you?
I want a movie about that man's life for like that year. You know how like what happened
into the Ezraverse.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is a name. I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
into the Ezraverse. Come on, ChatGPT. We're gonna have this script done by lunch. Woohoo!
Right. We could make that script. Like we could do this.
Yeah. They said no one could write a script, but no one said ChatGPT couldn't write the script, right?
So, I mean, Taika will write it. He'll do anything.
No, he's too busy. He's too busy following his.
He's being a boy toy.
Around, being a boy toy.
Yeah, I know. It's
he's
like
the Shawn Michaels of the Star Wars universe. Is what you're saying?
Well, I wrote that.
What I
right? Like that's.
That
awful.
Yeah. No, and that's why I turned it around and said that's what you get when you read Bestman Bulletin. But what I like about it is he knows there's some guy who's going to call him a bitch for it, but he knows that his wife is smoking hot, so he's like, yeah, go ahead, do that. He's all, let's get into it. He wants to get into that with you, internet person. You know what I mean? That's what he's hoping for. So yeah, but good on him. You know.
I mean, I'd love to have his life. I'm out here trying to avoid being a hatfish. You know.
Did you guys
really
know
is Costanza, Jason?
Rob,
I thought it was just a goof, but
no. Do you know the hatfish story?
No.
It was traumatic. You want to tell him the?
It's not.
Is it okay?
The hatfish. My friend.
You weren't the hatfish. No. It's your friend, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. You need to protect the innocent, But
no, basically, like he had pictures of himself on like Tinder or whatever. He he was texting the girl. They were like sending pictures, doing all this stuff. They'd gone as far as you can go over like text messages. So they decided to meet up and go for a date. And he showed up, and he took off his hat, and he was like, he wasn't super bald, but he was like really badly balding, like. And she got up and like just stormed out and like screamed at him and told him that she called him a hatfish and told him that he's purposely like misled her and that it's unfair to women. And then she went and like did a post about it. Like, it's not great.
Was his picture? Did he look like MacGruber in his photo? Like, did he go overboard with
it's all like hair, so like the mullet hanging out the back, and then he's like takes it off. And he's like Rocky Horror Picture Show guy.
The photos he had, like he either had a hat on or like his the photo would be cut off like around his forehead.
Yeah.
So like he was clearly hiding the fact that he was bald because he was insecure about it or balding, and he's still a hatfish though. He wears hats all the time.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I avoid being a hatfish.
Oh yeah, no, you can't be a hatfish. You gotta be like, hey, no hats in my pictures.
That's what I mean. So if I'm getting close to a woman, I take off my hat and be like, hey, look, this is what you're dealing with. In a few years, I'm gonna be a bald man.
Well, there was an episode of Curb about that. Remember the episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm? He gets the date, and then he shows up to the date without the hat. I think does he show up to the date without the hat, or does he take the hat off? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
that happened. Yeah. But he meets at first with it.
Yeah.
Can just imagine he just takes his hat off and just tilts his head toward the lady, hands out, and she can see, now you know.
Did you watch?
I'm not a hatfish.
Of Platonic last night, Jason?
No, I finished Ted Lasso though. Ted Lasso.
No spoilers. I haven't watched it yet.
There's a moment in Platonic early on with Seth Rogen's with a lady, and I had to do that before. Like you'll know when you see it, but I have to do that. Like yeah, I'm having too many Costanza moments lately. Like it all started with that stupid jacket thing. I was walking down the street the other day, and these kids were like shouting at me, and I turned around and I said hi to them, and then I kept walking. They kept heckling, and then they shouted, "Hey, old man!" And then I was like, oh, "Shit, I'm the old man." I looked around, nobody was there. I went home and moisturized. That's how badly it affected me. So
he's not even 30. You know what I mean? It's come on. What one time I was walking Luke. I told you the story best, but I was walking Luke and Penny to the park or something, and this old lady comes up to us and starts saying how cute the kids are, and then she's like, "Are you their grandfather?" I was like, "What the fuck, lady? I'm fucking 35. Come on." So, yeah, it happens.
It's tough out there for us Bolden men, They automatically add 10 years to us.
I mean, Captain Picard's only 19 in the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, but to us, he was always old.
He was. That's why Vin Diesel never ages, Jason.
Vin Diesel thinks that, but we all know the difference.
Hey, don't diss him. He looks incredible.
So without spoiling Rob, did you like the end of Ted Lasso?
Oh yeah. I thought it was the exact end, and I sort of I've always imagined, I suppose, and thought it was really well done. I imagine you don't like it based off of the text you sent me this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was a joke, but then I thought about it. I was like, no, this is real. He does think this.
Yeah, I do think that. What did I say?
So,
I don't remember
what I said.
it
Phoned-in cheese.
Yeah, phoned-in cheese. That sounds right. Ted Lasso doesn't die, Rob. I'll give you that spoiler right now. He fucking lives.
I told you he wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
you didn't believe
me. My actual problem with it, without spoiling Rob, is that every single thing that you and I talked about that would likely happen or was a likely outcome happened.
When I told you about the fan thing, I was I saw when they were discussing the thing that happened, I was like, there you go. I've been saying that for months at this point. That's what'll happen. Again, I think I agree with the decision. I agree with every decision they made in the finale.
Mhm.
Like it really does work for me. For me, like having Succession end on Sunday and like that delivered, this delivered. Like I'm happy. I'm satisfied as a fan of.
Now I'm questioning if Succession delivered because I don't know who to trust.
Well, if Rob likes it, then it's the majority.
I think Rob will like it. I don't see Rob
the
having
majority. Like
Is
I'm
it-
a man into his own island on this fucking show. Like,
Say bye.
Well, you liked the first episode of Ted Lasso season 3. Me and Jason were a bit more against it.
Yeah, that was filler. That was reiterating for reality for time. But if you've never seen
that's
it,
most TV shows, Jason. You just don't assume they watched it
we
3
live
other
in a
seasons before it.
yeah. But from here on out, other than that 1 week, for the rest of eternity, the show is going to be consumed as a streaming show in totality, and so you just don't need it. If people,
but it's still it does work out because Homeboy breaks up with Homegirl in that episode, and
well,
there's a bunch of shit in that episode that.
I'm not saying that that didn't need to happen. That could have happened in a full episode that wasn't reiterating the climate, though. And it was a little bit.
Maybe if Favreau wrote it, it would have been stronger. Maybe.
No.
This guy, he's got to make it personal. He's got to make it personal.
Never let that man.
Gotta make it.
Near an Apple TV project, please. No, but no, Apple are doing really well with comedies though. Ted Lasso, Shrinking, they've been fantastic, and I think Platonic's pretty good as well at the moment.
Yeah, I'm liking Platonic for the most part. I haven't watched the newest one.
If you want to listen to some fun arguments, there's a podcast called Script Notes.
Yeah,
it's with Craig Mazin and this other dude. I can forget the guy. But Mazin wrote a bunch of shitty movies, but then he eventually gets to. I mean, when I say shitty, we're talking like Scary Movie 3, the Hangover sequels, not the first one, superhero movie, that kind of bullshit.
People got bills, right?
But then the motherfucker drops Chernobyl on fucking HBO.
Yeah.
Right? And then he's on The Last of Us. Like, he's figured out, like, he found a place where he could actually write, right? So they had Chris McQuarrie on this week, and they've had, like, a fun fake feud for the last some years, right?
Yeah.
But then they do get into a real disagreement about, like, McQuarrie has opinions about, like, how he feels people should react at the end of a movie as opposed to, say, TV or something else, Yeah. And Mazin was, no, I don't think it, Mazin was trying to imply that, what was it? Chris McQuarrie kind of came across as like everyone should feel good leaving the movie, but that doesn't mean everyone was having a good time, like the characters having a good time. It's that you should feel energized or something at the end of a movie for a $200 million film. Basically what he's saying. If everyone walks out fucking depressed out of a $200 million film, and then he basically goes, what about The Dark Knight? And he goes, yeah, but one dude can be really good at pulling that off. You know what I mean? Most of us aren't. That's always my take.
But I would also say I almost never leave like A New Hope is that quintessential experience of that.
Right.
I don't get that very often. I can't. There's a handful of times I could think of like leaving a movie. Actually, strangely, one of them was from Dusk Till Dawn. I was ready to fight after that one. I was like, yeah, it's fucking badass. I love that. I was like 16 when that came out. That was a good time.
But the thing that McQuarrie did say that I totally agree with, and guys, I listen to the episode because they switch gears left and right in the conversation. So it's not. McQuarrie can sometimes reiterate himself in interviews. This is all new shit. Right? Okay. These guys ain't having that. But the thing that he did say was that he learned after Top Gun, right? Because I don't care what he says, that dude came in and directed some of that movie. I don't give a fuck what they're claiming, But he said that, before when he was planning out Mission Impossible movies or something like that, he'd always think of them in terms of set pieces. We got a set piece. What do we not do? What can we do this time that we haven't done before? That's how he's like prepping the film. Now he goes, I prep the film by how do I want the audience to feel at any given moment, like how do I want them to feel at the beginning? How do I want them to feel at the middle, the end, like in that journey, like thinking about it from that perspective. And look, you could like that to me is something that as an artist, it took me a long time. Once you get past all the technical stuff of drawing, whatever, painting, is forget styles, forget how you draw or what you draw. The question is, who am I making this for, and how do I want to make them feel? You know, like what is the response, the emotional response I want people to have, and like that's what I'm looking for in any sort of anything, like an emotional response. Is the intention an emotional response, or is the intention, well, you know, we had this big set piece, and then we had so we gave them the fan service, and we put in the lore, so they're good there. You know, check. They should feel good. Like that's not an emotional response, you know, and that's where Andor succeeds, in my opinion. You can still have a set piece, you can still have a sequence, but that isn't what you're wrapping it around. You're wrapping around an emotional journey, you know, even if it is a B movie level Star Wars emotional journey, that is the focus.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think maybe if there was like a criticism to be made of maybe the prequels, is that, you know, Lucas had a really cool idea of getting ILM and everyone busy developing visuals before he wrote things, but then he's writing things around those visuals, right? Like you're seeing that, like that's how you end up with that whole opening to Revenge of the Sith, and then you cut it, the Clone Wars sequence.
At the same time, though, he did overdevelop so much that like they ended up like shooting on sets from Phantom Menace for Attack of the Clones and stuff like that at the same time.
But that's my complaint. If the point was, if his focus was the emotional journey of Anakin, or say Padme, if that was the focus, then you don't really overdevelop that stuff. You overdevelop when you're letting everyone run fly and you're trying to like generate ideas, and that the focus is putting the ideas on screen. Look, I know this is complicated, but I've run into this problem before, you know, many times, and you know, as a guy who's put a lot of shit in his art, believe me, you gotta be careful about your intention behind that. You know, like if you're gonna put stuff on the screen, make certain that the intention is to invoke an emotional response, and not to say, "Look, I covered bases, everything's on screen." That this is a different mindset. You know, and it affects every other decision you make from then on out.
Yeah, remember. You also have to remember too with like the prequels and what they were doing. I think Phantom Menace had 17 games connected to it that released with it.
Oh, video games?
Yeah,
a lot of games.
Yeah, you know, I'm not even kidding. It was like 17 in total. Like when you get down like Game Boys and all the different platforms and stuff and shit like that. So like, yeah, so there was a little bit of like, yeah, let's just fucking just keep going because everything we'll be able to use it somewhere, you know, that kind of shit. But Jonesy is saying, could it be an idea to buy Disney shares on the stock market before major series and films are released? I mean, you know, as right now, I guess they've supposedly, I don't follow it that closely, so I can't give you any advice on that. But what I heard was, they were like, oh, we're really hurting Disney right now. And then there was like evidence that it was going quite the other way because Disney, I guess, is buying back its stock or something like that at the low price. So they're like, we're fine with this. But
I don't agree with stock buybacks.
Yeah,
fundamentally, but yeah.
But point being, if you're playing the stock market, it will likely get better. Disney will likely go up, and right now it is down. And so if you were going to, it probably would be probably a better time now than when the movies are coming out, when things are in production, and during this writer's strike, I would imagine you won't see high highs. I would think, but who fucking knows with this world? It's wild.
I still can't figure out the ending to Trading Places.
Why's that?
I've seen it. I just can't figure out what they were doing there on the floor. I've tried to make heads or tails of it. I just don't get it.
As the truth says, Pod Racer and RTS game announced whilst I'm watching Transformers next week. I can see it happening. Just my luck. Hey, that would, I guess, yeah, that would be your luck. But at the same time, it's still that's pretty good bad luck to have, right? If they actually announce that stuff.
Good luck. He gets to watch a Transformers movie, and which he loves.
And he comes out of the theater and there's the Pod Race game.
That's a great day, as a truth, Don't
Yeah.
worry about the videos. Just enjoy yourself.
Acid True's problems are a world away from Bespin's problems.
That's true.
Acid True has
Yeah.
Brad Pitt problems, and Bespin has George Costanza problems. Like that's.
You're not wrong. You know.
Yeah.
Royal Fino says Disney is the cheapest it's been in like 8 years. So there you go. Not bad. Now would be the time. Most likely though, when we get on the other side of this, you would see the gain. So I guess it depends on how long you want to wait for your return on your investments and stuff like
But what
that.
if the movies don't deliver? You know, all the movies that come out, what if they all underperform massively for Disney?
Well, that's what's happening kind of right now. Like Fast and the Furious is having like a weird thing where it's not delivering on the stateside, I guess, and then in the foreign markets it is, but it's not really hitting the mark. And Little Mermaid is the same thing, but opposite.
Yeah, Fast and Furious made 60 million in the States on its opening weekend, but 250 internationally, so over 300 like altogether.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid made 120 in the States and like 60 internationally. So like 180 altogether. Like that wasn't great. But yeah, like I don't know what's gonna happen with these other ones coming out. Like there's different numbers for like Transformers. Like some are saying 40, some are going up to as high as 70 for its opening weekend.
Okay.
But Transformers has typically been an international franchise more than anything, right? Like that's where it's made the bulk of its money.
Yeah.
Sort of similar to Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
But like Indiana Jones, I think primarily makes his money in the States, right?
I think so. Well, the what was Crystal Skull? Let me see.
It
what
was 800 million it made altogether.
Yeah, it was like 790, which we ran up to 800, and with inflation and stuff, it's it's like $1 billion movie with inflation. But yeah, hold on, let me see. Indiana Jones and the fucking titles, dude. Okay. Foreign box office. Let me see if I can.
I thought you said porn before you said box office.
It's a big whip.
No, because you know how box office mojo went all weird, like So okay,
IMDb
so
bought them and broke the fucking site.
So domestic, it made 317 million. International was 473. So it actually made more money internationally. And then the total was 790. So it actually made more internationally. So you could say Indiana Jones was more international, surprisingly, on that last one. 59% of the box office was international and 40% was domestic. So
I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's not gonna do huge in China, you know? Indiana Jones. But if it does well in Australia, the UK, France, Germany, then they should be all right.
Yeah.
I can tell you what the fuck's gonna play in Russia these days, you know.
But that's where
Crystal Skull
failed, right?
Crystal Skull didn't open in China. Like they weren't doing that back then, correct?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. Little Mermaid bombed in like the Asian markets.
Yeah.
That's like part of the problem.
I saw like interesting like conversations about that on Reddit, like around the box office, where there were Asian people claiming they were mad at Americans for saying that they were going to be racist towards the film. So that's why they didn't see the movie. I'm like, oh, that's really, really weird. But they claim that those were like news stories that they're saying we're going to be racist against this movie. And people were like, fuck that movie. We're not going to see it. I have no idea if that's true, but that's something that they are actively pushing. So I thought it was definitely strange. But I'm trying to see if there was anything for Indiana Jones. So far, there's nothing for Dial of Destiny showing up with pre-sales or anything.
That'll probably hit like by Friday, if not Monday. Like what that's looking to do in the opening weekend stateside. Like they would have had obviously a week then of pre-sales, so 2 weeks of pre-sales at that point. So yeah, they'll work it out. Indy, like again, it's got a monumental task. It needs to make around 800 million, which is ridiculous. It's not its fault. It's Lucasfilm and Disney's fault. But yeah, like the Flash, I think that needs to make over 700 to become profitable or something. Like, yeah.
So, Last Crusade made 58% of its money internationally. So since Last Crusade, Indiana Jones has been an international film as opposed to a domestic one for its most of its take.
Here's the difference with the Flash, though, like, and what they're not going to tell you is the Flash has a shitload of fucking toys. Mm-hmm. So the merch potential is where they're going to make their money. Even if that movie doesn't get to 700 mil, it could easily do $1.5 billion in toy sales, and that, that's not them paying for a license. They own everything, so they're going to get that money back, one way or the other. So Indiana Jones, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they got merch, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love Indiana Jones, and I buy the movies, but when I was a child, you couldn't find the toys. They weren't anywhere. I know they existed, but I don't even know anybody who had them.
This was at a time when you could buy Star Trek 4 figures, like the Captain Kirk in a red jumper. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, those were on the shelves. So I know because I got stuck with them. My uncle.
Yeah.
These are Star Trek toys.
But by like Last Crusade, I was like obsessed with Indiana Jones. I was waiting for it. It was like I was in the Lucasfilm fan club magazine subscription club thing. I'm like waiting for it. I'm all about it. And they didn't really make that much stuff around it. Like, you could buy the poster. You could buy the puzzle of the poster. You know what I mean? Everything was like, you could buy the shirt of the poster. It was just like all the same, like kind of
one
ship.
image on this.
Yeah. It was that poster with like,
you know what movie got away with it? You know what movie got away with that and did well was Batman. They put that logo on the poster, and then they put that logo on everything. And I always tell people the highest profitable shirt of all time is the Batman logo shirt. Like, it's fucking yellow on a black tee, dude. Like,
but but that actual movie logo of Batman was like so high quality for the time.
One.
Yeah, like it was like shiny, and we were like, that is cool, and it was like subtle. It didn't feel like it wasn't too busy. I have the busy Batman shirts. When I think the first shirt I ever bought for myself, like where my parents didn't buy it, was a Batman shirt, and it was Batman. It was like a comic booky one, but it was for the movie's like release, and it was Batman, and he had the Joker like by his like thing right here, and it said arch enemies.
That's why I feel like the Indiana Jones logo should have lines and be fully airbrushed in the whole bit, dude. Like, this minimalistic design shit that's like slapped over a Drew Struzan compositional knockoff. I'm not feeling that, dude. I'm just not like.
But Batman was the movie at the time that was like, whoa, what the fuck are we doing? Look at what they did with that Return of the Jedi. We need to be making the money back on the products and stuff like that. And I saw that Keaton and Nicholson got like some of that money, and like that year Nicholson was like made like the most money at that point than anybody had ever made because of that or something.
He took a pay cut to get a percentage of the gross or net profits, however that worked out, and the merch was tied into that.
Because Batman was never profitable. The '89 Batman was never profitable, technically.
You are an excellent producer. You and John Hughes are going to be hanging out,
right?
Cutting Barbara Streisand's hair, laughing to the bank.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm like
13 million for Man of Steel. Because he owns the theatrical rights to Superman to this day.
The fucking Queen movie with Wembley Stadium is like the only thing that they had to redo, and that movie made $1 billion, and they're like, we weren't profitable, you guys. It's like, we
weren't profitable.
What you did? You fucking deep fake fucking Freddie Mercury for the whole film? Because what if everybody's done that?
Well, my animation teacher was a part of that lawsuit for Coming to America. When the original screenwriter, it was stolen. They did get it. It was stolen, but they were like, they had to go through all that financial bullshit even in the 90s over, oh, it didn't make any money. Like, the fuck, it didn't make any money. Like,
yeah, I'm sure they had their idea ripped off, but it's still weird that like their idea is just Prince and the Pauper. So it's like it's so strange, you know how that.
yeah, but it's
I don't
not the
remember all
general
the
idea. It's
details.
the specific of the script. You know, the location, the setting, the characters, the blah blah. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
It was
take a
taking
meeting.
Prince and
You
the
know what I mean?
Pauper with yeah, making it an African prince, and so yeah.
Well, my animation teacher, he's a very litigious guy. He was part of a secret lawsuit. Since
Sued
I
you?
never signed an NDA, I can talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Is he was part of a lawsuit against Pixar for you know, the green, what's the green guy, Mike from Monsters Inc., the big eyeball?
Mike
Oh, yeah.
Wazowski.
Yeah, they took a meeting with, what's that guy that created Ratfink? Remember those 60s dragsters, like art, right? They took a meeting
Yeah.
with that guy, and he left behind a drawing of a big eyeball character, and that's what they used that leftover drawing as Mike, and never paid him, and so
Yeah.
he sued, and so like when they opened up Monsters Inc. in California Adventure, you didn't see Mike anywhere. It was all Sully. Because they were knee deep in that lawsuit at the time, and they won undisclosed amount. No one ever talks about it, and that's when Monsters Inc. 2 comes out and all that shit. Like
Yeah.
after they settle that out, that's when those characters come back. Because everyone was like, "How come they never do anything with Monsters Inc.? It was a big hit." I'm like, "Yeah, because there's a giant loss." And they jacked the fucking design.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, do you know who Daniel Johnston is?
I know
No.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
So Daniel Johnston was this, you know, artist, musician guy, and he was schizophrenic, and he did this record called "Hi, How Are You," and it's like done on like a cassette tape kind of thing, you know, and it's like one of those kind of deals, and this hurts today. So Kurt Cobain wears the Daniel Johnston shirt at the MTV Music Awards when they play Lithium. Remember, Rob, when Chris Novoselic throws bass up and hits him in the head, knocks him out? Remember that? Was that a thing for you? Okay, well, he throws up his bass in there and he doesn't catch it, and he knocks himself out. But Kurt's wearing that like shirt for it. Meanwhile, he's in a mental hospital while this is happening, because Sonic Youth took him to New York and he started drawing fish all over the Statue of Liberty, all the way up the Statue of Liberty. He is like really, like, he ends up crashing an airplane. Like, watch The Devil and Daniel Johnston. But he's an artist, and he does these like drawings, and he sold them and stuff, right? And it was pretty funny because Hard Rock Cafe was selling Daniel Johnston's shirt for $40. But if you just went to Daniel Johnston's website, he would send it to you for $11. You know what I mean? It was like, and I'm really not kidding. I think Daniel could have made more money off of his shirts. I think he saw it as like a promotion. But anyways, he had this little character, and they even made like a game of it eventually. But he had this like little character. See that little guy right there? And he would draw that was the shirt right there. You can see Kurt Cobain wearing it at the music awards, and that's what made it, you know. Daniel recently died, and but I was a big fan of his.
Walking posters? Was that the guy with the walking characters?
No,
similar, but no, okay.
He did a lot of Frankenstein stuff, but anyways, yeah. But I really liked his music, and so he was easy to get in contact with and stuff like that. And I would buy the music directly from him, and I had bought everything. And he sends me this artwork of this little guy of a thing right there, and it was purple, like a purple one, and Frankenstein, like in this like picture, like it's like really cool. And I had it framed, and I don't know where it happened to it. I've like spent days trying to find this piece of art. Like I think it's somewhere. You know what I mean? But I'm like, but he recently died, and like you know, and I'm like, fuck, like not only because, you know, he was a nice guy and I liked his art and stuff like that. But anyways, that always reminded me of like the Monsters Incorporated thing, and that's the kind of thing that could happen to Daniel Johnston, because he would, if he liked you or you were nice to him and you were in his spirit, he would draw you stuff. You know what I mean? That's just like what he did.
Right.
And but like,
Plus,
look at
you
that
think
guy.
if your company hires you or flies you in to have a meeting, they're not just gonna like scour your notes. You know what I mean? A high profile company won't, but they will. They'll scour your shit and not pay you. You know.
Yeah.
I remember I went to an interview at a t-shirt company once, and they had my designs on the wall, right?
Right.
With like reference of a new package, and they're like, "Why should we hire you?" I'm like, "Well, you're already using my art. You could just hire me. I can make it more of it."
Right.
Like, you don't have to scour no more. I'll just be right here, and the CEO couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, I'm right there. Like,
yeah.
I could be sitting right there just making it. You could just point to me. We got him. Like,
right.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, I don't know what's going to happen with any of that box office stuff. To go back to what you were saying, Bespin, like what's going to happen if none of it connects, because I don't know what to expect, like from that Ray movie. Like I feel like it's going to like the Ray movie and the Filoni movie. I think both of those will perform, but I don't think they're going to like overperform. I don't think they're so inspired they're going to like be a fucking phenomenon. They're just not.
No, I don't think so either. I think both of them are the safest way to guarantee money if you're making a new Star Wars movie. Like we hear from that report right back, I think it was Hollywood Reporter, that they didn't want to take risks, and like those two movies seem like the most risk averse. That's why Mangold's would be the furthest out, or Taika's would be the furthest out, or something.
Right.
And in terms of like Disney box office currently, like Indy isn't doing well with the reviews from cons. Don't know how that's going to continue to go. We don't know what the numbers are going to be in terms of box office. Elemental, the new Pixar movie, it's not getting great reviews, so that's probably not going to perform because it hasn't had great marketing. It comes out in a few weeks.
Right.
Little Mermaid seems like it is underperforming to an extent internationally. Then you get the Marvels coming out in November as well. It might not be a great year for Disney.
This is something that they can kind of blame on themselves, because when a movie didn't perform well theatrically, they can make their money back in home video sales.
Mm-hmm.
But they all decided to get rid of physical media and make everything streaming. So they killed their own revenue stream.
And that's
I canceled my Disney Plus today. I said, "Fuck you, Disney Plus."
Like,
the big
yeah,
I don't need
it, right? Like he's trying to extend the release windows, so he wants to make money again from the digital side of things, where there's like rentals
and Iger thinks he's just the bee's knees.
Yeah.
So he's gonna do. Iger's gonna do. Yeah, like it's very clear they got together and they all decided if we all do the same asshole as shit, nobody could do anything about it. So let's just all do the same asshole shit.
Like me and you have this theory that when he's been removing all this stuff off of Disney Plus recently, similarly to how Zaslav had it happen on Max, the stuff he removed is going to their own fast service, their free ad streaming service, and it's all the crap that nobody really wants us going there. I think that Disney are going to do the same. Like, it's an ad supported service. Like, they're going to make money from the ad revenue on it. Like, you know, that's where Willow's going to be dumped and all this other crap. Like, he is definitely taking notes.
Going to Disney Deuce.
Probably Hulu.
Disney Deuce.
Probably what Hulu will. They'll probably
integrated into Disney Plus, though. So.
And then they'll probably end up turning that into into the.
They want their own Tubi. They can't get home video sales anymore.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah,
they want that free ad. We want a free site that plays ads that people watch. And we can make ad money. But even in that ad money, those ad packages can't be the same as when they were able to sell. We're gonna pull this movie out the vault. That bullshit, right? $120 a copy for
which is what Captain thinks is gonna happen.
The only thing about like those services, like I like Tubi. Like I actually like it. Like there's stuff on there's something like it's shit, but it's shit I would watch. Like if I had
Warner Brothers stuff is playing currently.
I don't know, but you'll see like weird martyrs.
I watched MasterChef Australia on Tubi.
But do you get that thing where it gives you 4 ads, but it's the same ad, and you feel like you're in a psychological torture thing
I had
to
that
like
with
be able to
Crunchyroll.
watch.
See,
I
Jason,
can't.
you don't watch Tubi on a PC like I do.
You
So
don't
you
watch
get a
Tubi
PC.
Premium.
No, because you can install Tubi Blocker, and all Tubi Ad Blocker does, it doesn't block the ads. When an ad plays, it fast forwards through it, like super fast. So you
Tubi
sort of
Plus.
vaguely see an ad, and it just jumps. Yeah, it just it fast plays through the ad. So they get their ad play.
Yeah.
Right? It just plays at like 1,000 times speed.
Yeah.
So,
like it or not, David Zaslav is changing the face of like the industry.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of streaming it, at the very least.
He's the harbinger of the apocalypse.
Yeah. So, you know,
he's the thumb that made it. Right? Like Paycheck didn't, but this thumb, the little thumb who could, right?
Well, Zazzy.
Well,
But
Big Zaz now, because now he's the big dog, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Big Zaz and little Ikey. As the truth says, you know what's not having a bad, what's not having a bad year? Games. Banger after banger since January, with many more to come. Movies, shows. I don't need them. Yeah, the Street Fighters.
Not if you made Redfall.
Do you play Street Fighter, Rob? Are you a Street Fighter guy?
No, but my buddy religiously follow. I play old Street Fighter, right? I used to competitively. I just, once the art career kicked in, I couldn't do it anymore. I do appreciate what they're doing with the character creators and stuff, you know, and the open world.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So, yeah, that's the first original thing they've added since Street Fighter 3, in my opinion. You know, so
yeah, I might be able to bring back. You might be able to bring back your old City of Heroes character. Think about it.
When it goes on, see, the thing is, I don't want to spend. Here's the thing: I make things all day. When I play video games, I don't want to make things. I have this like rule, right? So the new Zelda game, you gotta spend all your time making shit. I'm like, I don't want to make nothing. I just want to fucking go on an adventure. So with Street Fighter, I gotta spend all my time making a character. Like, I don't want to make a character.
Rob,
you know,
does that go for love too?
Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny. You know, this clip could be used in court in the future. You never know.
I heard Sucked say this in Little Nicky's voice. Tubi fucking rules. Popeye's chicken's fucking awesome. I don't know why. For some reason, that's how I read it.
Flash, Cassius. In the flash.
That's been ready with the impersonation. I like it.
Yeah. Chillin says, I don't believe that thumbnail at all. Maybe if there was a question mark at the end of the sentence. Yeah, well, I mean, I would, the thing, Chillin, the thing about it is there was a lot of reason to kill the movie now. I mean, like you were saying yesterday, Bespin, you were like, if they follow, we were laughing at the idea because there is no schedule. There is no plan. It's just, what can we do first? And then that's just what's going to happen over and over for these next films is kind of what we were coming up with. And we're like, if they follow it, he will have been making his movie for 10 years by the time he gets an opportunity to make that film.
If we go off of like what they're currently doing, like Ray's 25, Filoni's 26, Mangold's 28.
And their plan is even 27 and 29. Is what they were officially,
if Cameron is taking 27 and they're pushing the Star Wars,
right,
there'll be 25, 26, 28, and then Taika would roll around at 2030, 10 years after when he signed on.
Yeah,
they're just throwing shit out the wall and seeing what sticks, what's going to happen.
But
I think Ray and Filoni will happen. I think they kind of have to. But the rest of it, like, I don't think we'll ever see this Taika movie.
What I would say, or where my optimistic place I'm going with it is, it must be a really fucking good idea if they're not treating it like the Patty Jenkins film, or like we're just done. I'm saying though that there must be a hook there that is keeping it from falling off. And I think the only reason why it wasn't at that thing is because they just like they didn't have Taika. They don't want to talk about what the idea is because it's it's not done. So I think that's why it wasn't at Celebration. And when in reality, Taika's idea and Taika's work is further along than the Mangold and probably the Filoni thing. Really, it's probably not going to happen before that. But I mean, it is actually further along in development for them than those ones. So
I mean,
it's
I
weird.
don't know. Like that movie's
Yeah.
supposed to be coming out in December, Jason. Remember, Kathy said 2023. Like it's gonna happen.
Hey, senior moment. She gets her senior moment being a senior.
No, but at that point, she must have been like fairly confident in like where he and Wilson Cans were at that point, like to get a movie delivered in by 2025, and then in her mind, she upped it by 2 years. So she must have been confident that he could get it out within 3 years of starting development on it. The world me and you were like creating right now is like at the very earliest he could get it out instead of the Mangold movie, which would have taken him 8 years to get to that point. I just think with Lucasfilm, like as we've seen with their with their writers and even their directors with Patty Jenkins, and actors, they don't tie anybody down. They don't tie anybody down to do a project. They just let them do what they want. Like they let Pedro go off and do Last of Us. They didn't have a first priority clause in his contract. Patty Jenkins had a first priority clause to Warner Brothers. So if they called to do Wonder Woman early, which they did, she had to ditch everything and move. Like move back to the Warner Brothers stuff and do Wonder Woman. Like that with Taika, like, he's fucking taking project after project. Like he just signed on to do that Clara and the Sun movie,
Right?
Like, and it's I just think they like having these things all in development. It's like whatever happens first happens first. At this point,
I'm on this the same page with you there. That is the only answer to what they have presented in any kind of coherent fashion. But also in that same way, I think it's like fucking, I don't know, American Idol Star Wars or something. And it's just like whichever one is going to get the highest score right now is the one that will go on to the next round. And then finally one of them is the American Idol of Star Wars and gets to come out in the theater. And I kind of, so like, that's why I'm not counting Taika out as that hard. And the other thing I think that is worth noting is there's been absolutely nothing about more TV shows and other. So we got Acolyte, we got Andor wrapping up, we got Acolyte continuing, we got Ahsoka continuing, and Mandalorian continuing, and we might have Skeleton Crew. So that right there is a reason that we just don't need any more right now. It could be that.
Talk about reposting Squadron as a TV show.
Yeah, but that was specifically asked, like, could that happen? And it was like, it could.
No, she asked about the movies that weren't there, that if they're still in development, Taika and Squadron.
Yeah.
And she said that nothing's ever cancelled, they're still in development, and, with Taika, she said it's still happening, and she said that he's a slow writer thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And then she said, like, with the Patty's one, it could still be a movie, or it could get repurposed to a series. They didn't ask her if it would be one, or both series in general. She brought up that concept, that idea.
Right.
So it's clearly something they've thought about, or again, she just said something random on the spot.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm falling. Yeah, that's where I'm falling on that one, since there's nobody attached to do it. It's not happening, or nothing's happening until we know that. I would say
like a Kenobi situation.
No, there's the Kasdans are free.
My thesis, Lawrence, by all means. But my where I'm going with this is, if there are less Disney Plus shows going into production, that money could be allocated to film, and maybe against the better judgment, maybe they are going to be going to one Star Wars film a year. Maybe they're going to go back and try it. Maybe Iger and Kennedy looked at it and were like, we fucked up the Solo thing. Here's why we fucked it up. Here's what we could have done differently to avoid that. And knowing that the data that they have, maybe they're going to dip their toe in that. And maybe that's why the Filoni in the year after the Rey film, maybe that's what that is.
But they cut in funding for the Disney Plus side of things, not to reallocate it. They're cutting it just because the spending's out of control, and like the debt that that service is like a massive.
Right.
They're not going to repurpose those funds. Maybe to Bob Iger, they'll give it to him.
Well, but
Maybe they'll get a bonus.
we haven't really had a clear indication, have we, that Marvel and Star Wars are in any way threatened by the changes that happen. I mean, obviously there's some quality issues that Marvel is addressing, but like overall, we've been of the mindset that we're not going to get Tom Hanks as Geppetto, but
like we won't likely get straight to Disney Plus movies anymore.
Yeah.
Feige obviously said previously that they were going to slow down on the TV shows on the Marvel side, and what gets made. I think in the situation where we're in currently with Marvel and Disney Plus, I don't think Bob Iger greenlights Echo, for instance, and even Agatha. I don't think those get.
I actually believe in Agatha.
I know. Do you think Agatha?
I do.
Could be cool, but why
I think Agatha could be a huge opportunity for them if they put the money into the songs, go after those witchy Disney adults.
Yeah,
but they got something there. But but in terms of like the standard Marvel like audience, that's not it. Yeah.
What I mean is like when they were making those decisions, it was like they could just make anything and people will watch it and see it and whatever. I think now, because you've kind of got like a stepping stone to the next thing. So with WandaVision, you get an Agatha, and then later on you get a Vision Quest, which is obviously a continuation of WandaVision, but focused on Vision.
Right.
Echo is going to directly lead you to Daredevil, and like obviously Wilson Fisk was introduced in Hawkeye. So again, you got the middle stone, you got the middle step. I think we cut all that out if they are greenlighting things now. So they're putting out a Wonder Man series. Like I don't think they'll give you a spin-off of Wonder Man. I don't think they'll do that sort of stuff. I think they're gonna go for more sure things.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil is a no-brainer to like greenlight and put on Disney Plus. Echo, you're taking a bit more of a risk. They want sure things. They want to know their money is being spent in something that can actually make them money, that people will sign up to Disney Plus for.
Is Daredevil not Film League? A Film League hero? Yeah, like is he not big enough to be a film? Like
I think he is, but like it's just the impact that the Netflix Daredevil had. Like obviously a lot of that cast is returning, some on, but they like people want that version of Daredevil. Like they love Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
No, that's what I was surprised because I watched Daredevil on Netflix when it came out. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I liked it. It was a good time. But when they showed Daredevil stuff at D23, those people were fucking about it. Like they were, and I was like, really? I was surprised. I was like, and as that was happening, I was like, why the fuck are they making this fucking Echo show? And why isn't this Daredevil a fucking film? Like instead of this fucking Ant-Man bullshit you're showing me right now, that was where I was at with that. But
it's the same thing when you think of like Lucasfilm, like from Snyder, who told us that they were making the Indiana Jones TV series. He then told us later on that no, they're not making that now. Oh my god! But yeah, he said that
it goofed.
They're not making that anymore, right? So like they don't trust that at the moment to be like, let's allocate funds to making a prequel Indiana Jones show. They're trying to go for more sure things, the things they know fans will connect with, that will do well. They're not going to take a risk on a Willow, that they're not going to do that again.
I want to show you something. Look, when you say Echo wouldn't sell, Echo sucks. It's their execution. This is the first appearance of Echo from the Daredevil comic.
For the record, I'm completely ignorant of everything Echo. All I saw was that they brought like the sign language thing in, and that's all they were selling, and it wasn't cool. Yeah,
and they rendered the world in mixed media and color pencil, and like this stuff is visually fucking stunning. Show me where this is in the Disney Plus series.
I didn't see that ass in no Disney Plus series. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. Like, where is any of this? Like
J-Lo as Echo.
Even her memories when she's a kid were drawn like on paper, like little kitty stuff. Like it's using a lot of Bill Sienkiewicz kind of like ideas here.
Yeah.
But I mean, So I don't want to hear like Echo can't work. Their execution is dog shit.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it couldn't work. I said that's all I know about Echo, and I'm like, why are you fucking doing this?
I just said that they would pick more about what they consider a show thing rather than something like Echo. I think they If Bob Iger was greenlight, I think he greenlight Daredevil instead of Echo. I like that they take chances on these not as popular characters, as like Echo or Ironheart or whatever.
Like, what's the guy that did Drive? You know what I mean? If you had like that kind of vibe, going on with this, and you threw in some different, some of that mixed meat. If you could find a way to like rotoscope, like Waking Life or whatever, you know what I mean? Like her memories and the way she perceives the world, so you see the world the way she sees and experiences the world. You could get something totally different. But if they want to treat this shit like the CW, then you get CW Returns, which is a channel that never made a profit. So, I just want to clarify this for folks, when they talk shit about the character.
We're not also saying Echo's a shit character, by the way.
No, all I know about Echo is what they showed me at D23, and like honestly, I was tired, but at the D23 thing, all they did was pat themselves on the back for hiring Native Americans, which I'm all for. Do it by all means. And then like using sign language and that taking it into the ASL and stuff like that. And I was like, cool, yeah, do that, Yeah. But it's like, but that's not what you sell. That's not how you sell the idea. So everybody's just like crickets during this stuff, and then Daredevil shows up, and everybody's like, fucking Daredevil. You know what I mean? And I was like,
meanwhile, nobody was standing up and applauding for Daredevil when the show was initially announced. It's the execution of the show on Netflix that got people in. I mean, when that Daredevil, I worked one of my first gigs in t-shirts. When I got in, the Daredevil movie had just happened, and they were fucking mad because they were able to, before that movie, the Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, right. I forgot that was a movie. Yeah.
Before the Ben Affleck Daredevil, before
John Favreau.
People go, John Favreau. By the way, I said the only best part is the scene where they're in a diner and it's him and the guy from Rudy like arguing. That's what the whole thing should be. And if you look at that bit, that's basically what Iron Man is, that whole scene. Yeah. So it's that kind of like improv back and forth. But before that movie, they were able to always have a comic book drawn. They called it classic art, but comic book drawn Daredevil in Hot Topic or in a major store forever. They could just sell the image. So they were making like maybe $1 million a year off Daredevil, right? Under the floor, under the radar. No one, just always had one in stealth. Fucking that movie came out, killed it. Couldn't do nothing, Daredevil.
Yeah,
nothing. Even when the show came out, I worked on all the shirts for the show. Couldn't get none of them placed, bro. Yeah, none of them. Not little chibi arts. Nothing. You couldn't do anything with it.
Because like it from my from like my childhood, when I think back on like Iron Man and Daredevil kind of about the same level of
here's the difference,
popularity and stuff. And
before the Iron Man movie, you couldn't put Iron Man in a store to get it sold. I tried. One of the first shirts I did, and I still have it, was putting Pat. You know who the artist Pat Lee is? Like he was like a big anime like artist, and he did this cool mecha fucking Iron Man shit. Super dope, right? Super Gundam, like Neon Genesis Evangelion, big cannons, super detailed. And the fucking art was amazing. I put it on shirts, whatever I could to get it in. Nobody would buy it. Nothing. Not classic, nothing. The Iron Man, the movie comes out, Iron Man sells forever.
Yeah.
Daredevil, so a bad movie not just kills the potential for another film, it kills your merch. Yeah. And like
Batman
for
forever.
A long time, it could kill it for 10, 15 years. Yeah. Like that's just gone. Some characters can withstand it. Batman can withstand it.
Yeah.
Because the Batman Robin merch didn't sell, but you could still sell Batman classic art at the WB store, at Six Flags, and
we've been kind of encultured to this idea that there's like multiple Batman concepts. So if you don't like one, you just block it out and go about your life. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the new trailer for that, I was going to bring that up when we were talking about Spider-Verse earlier. That looks like probably amazing. Like the best thing they've done since the original film. Probably going to be better than the original film.
I still want one that looks like the comic, the Mirage Studios comic. I would love. Just get one for Rob. Give one for the kid. We've never had it, you know. But this does look fantastic.
Yeah, and that one right there, like the one that they're doing now, I don't think would be exactly that. But if they do age them up at any point, if they do anything like it, like if it does go through time, it maybe it kind of becomes more like that. Like if they make more, you know, it won't be exactly what you're talking about. But it might move more into because they're like Donatello looks like he's like a kid, like he's still like he's barely a teenager, like in like his design, you know. And
one of the coolest things they did with this movie was they put all the kids in the room during the voiceover, so all the kids are really interacting with one another.
You get that Goonies thing where they're all talking.
So they're actually like moving props and you know what I mean, like ad lib and talking and running over one another. Yeah, and it's probably the best. I thought the Super 8 was a pretty good ensemble. You know, Stranger Things is better. This is good. I mean, just from what I've heard, they sound great. You know, as a group of kids talking with one another, they sound pretty good. Yeah, I just love all the squigglies. Like when they're thinking, there's like tons of like squiggles, like sketches and stuff. And that's the kind of thing that I'm like, that's what Echo needs. It needs that. Because that's the artwork is part of that character, and when these fucking studios go and look, it's not just Disney Plus, it's Marvel. Marvel dismisses artists, and they have since, in my opinion, since Todd McFarlane and all them left fucking Marvel for Informed Image, since Rob Liefeld, Todd, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Jim Valentino, Eric Larson, all left. They stop fucking crediting artists or giving artists props. You know,
Rob Liefeld follows me on Twitter, and I'll tell you, Rob, it's an honor. It's an honor.
Yeah, I know.
I follow him back. We're like Twitter friends. It's an honor.
I'm followed by some famous rappers. You know,
I love that you got a side Rob. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Robservations.
You got a side Rob. And,
side Rob.
Investment is a hatfish. You know, and,
poor guy, you got the hatfish. Huh?
I'm an Avadork. You know?
Avadork. Yeah. All right. Well, we went 2 hours. I think we did it for a show that was almost canceled today. I think we did a good job. And thank you for holding down the fort, Rob and Bespin, for showing up and helping out. I appreciate it, because otherwise Penny would still be at school right now, all by herself.
Rob paid me $3. I'm just here for the money, Jason. Right?
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
$3 you don't know.
I tried to become I tried to become your Patreon supporter of yours, but for some reason, like because we have a Patreon, and you're able to tell it to take the funds out of your Patreon proceeds to pay your other thing. Like that used to be a thing you can do. It won't let me do it. I was like, what the hell? But I'm going to support you on Patreon. You'll see.
You don't need to. You don't need to.
But I will.
Rob's covered you. You know.
but I will.
Covered please.
Everybody should.
This show and Bespin show now. I'm in it for $8 a month here, folks. Yeah. I'm getting my $8. I pay $8 a month to be on this show now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every now and then you're like, you know, James Cameron Avatar, and then I think back and I'm like, he got me that Nacho Grande last night. What a guy!
You got to say it in Triumph the Dog's voice.
Yeah. What a guy! But yeah,
what a guy! He got me that Nacho Grande.
Jermaine from who used to be at Slash Film and who's like at IO9 now. He's in the Conan O'Brien Triumph Attack of the Clones episode. Triumph insults him. He's in it. So yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's like there's only like a few things I would say I am truly jealous of on like the Star Wars front, and one of them is Weird Al used the Force.net spoilers to write The Saga Begins. Fucking, I wish that happened to me. And the other is, I wish Triumph the Insult Comic Dog berated the fuck out of me at some point.
Wouldn't it be a dream
Yeah.
if Weird Al's final album was just fandom covers. Like he just decided to do
that'd be
covers
weird.
of all.
Oh, sorry.
He is
Before
Weird
we
Al.
go, I think it was it Jonesy was asking a question. Can they just look for writers in other countries not affected by the strike? Technically, no. For two reasons. The first is that it like most of the writers who they would want of the caliber who they would want with the background, education, and training to do what they need to do would be from the West, and which would mostly be the UK and the United States for English speaking writers, English writers, and both. If you write for the strike, you get banned in the UK by their guild. So it would be completely career suicide if you did it, but also when they have a deal, they're not allowed to like do that. They're not allowed to use scabs when they have a deal in that way, supposedly. I don't know how that Rebels thing from earlier plays into that, how they were able to do that at all, considering that they were a part of that agreement with I think they just broke it, I guess. What are you gonna do about it, I guess, kind of situation. But no, so essentially you wouldn't do that unless you want to be banned for life. And so that's highly unlikely to be a thing that will happen. Somebody like Taika Waititi, Ryan Johnson, Dave Filoni, Favreau, yeah, they're not going to go and like commit career suicide so that way they can make a Rey film. You know what I mean? That's just like not going to happen. It's not worth it. It's not worth it's just better just to take the year off and fucking, count your losses.
Around,
yeah.
Be a boy,
yeah. Tag team other chicks with her, do Taika stuff, right? Do that. I'm proud of him. That's what Taika does.
I got a bunch of T-shirts I gotta get to making, Jason.
Taika stuff, man. Little Tykes,
Once I get my new store up, you're gonna see little 24 hours. So we got to do Taika stuff's coming right after.
Tykes on bikes.
You mean Bill for T-shirts coming soon?
Star Wars Santa says, "Real Bespin fans support him on Patreon," and then he puts this little emoji of little Santa Claus.
Well, that's why Santa's a nice guy,
And then one thing I wanted, because Brandon asked earlier, do you think KK will be at Lucasfilm when any of the movies premiere? I would imagine that she will be, but the only thing I would say that might make that not happen is if this Indiana Jones movie bombs. But whose fault is it? That budget? Who takes the blame for that?
There's going to be a scapegoat for that.
There will be a scapegoat for that, but I would also say that in terms of that issue right there, this isn't a thing that keeps happening with her. This isn't, I mean, there's been other things that fans get mad about, but in terms of like a big movie that by all means was set to be a success and wasn't, Solo doesn't count. That wasn't her.
A Bob Iger problem.
That was a Bob Iger problem, and it was.
Kathy was actively trying to fight against it.
Yeah. So it's like, when you really get down to it, you will have Force Awakens, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, Solo: A Star Wars Story, Episode 9, and Indiana Jones, if I'm not missing any, and all the Disney Plus shows. And this would be, you would have Willow as a failure, and you would have this Solo as a failure.
Solo, I don't know.
We're not giving her Solo. So we're saying she's absolved of Solo, but on her watch, like on her that she was responsible.
Right, but remember the thing that you were saying for like Hello High Water, she has to get a movie up by 2025.
Right.
And then Snyder followed that up and said that if she doesn't get a movie up by 2025, she's gone.
Right.
They could use the writer's strike as an excuse for her to extend that. Like
they can.
Okay, we can't get it to 2025, get it 2026.
Yeah.
But if Indy does bomb, and they were thinking of moving on anyway, because Bob Iger might not even be there at that point. They said they wanted to take 2 years to find his successor. Within 2 years, they wanted to find his successor.
And I don't know if Bob Iger wants to add finding Kathy's successor into that agenda for himself either. For the record,
you know what I mean? Might not be his problem to deal with what happens after that.
He might not want to be the one to unseat her. Like in terms of Iger himself, just Iger taking care of Iger. finding his successor and that person being good, and then him getting out and the company being in a good direction is good. If he goes and he makes any choices that they can then say are his fault, like if they replace Kathy with Zack Snyder and then everything's like slow motion Star Wars and Star Wars fans reject it or something, then it's Iger's fault. So
Iger came in last year, right? He returned last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
well, they're gonna find his successor by 2024. That guy could come in and be like, right, let's get Star Wars under control. Let's actually create a true slate, a true vision, rather than what me and you said, just throwing everything at the wall, seeing what develops first, what comes together first.
Yeah,
this guy who takes over might be like, no, let's get our house in order. Like he could say, right, Kathy's had enough. Like let's try somebody else who's hungry for it.
That's what we were saying last night when we and I were talking. I was like, the one thing about Kathy leaving when it does happen is that the person who comes in is going to want to come in and they're going to want to have their Force Awakens.
Yeah, they're going to want to prove themselves.
They're going to want to make theoretically, they're going to want to make a fucking dent. They're going to want to make a statement. And when that happens, if they pull it off, we win. We get to reap the benefits of their ego, thankfully. And but so that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit like, yeah, Kathy, maybe it's time to do somewhere else, do something else.
You always bring up our like Fortnite conversations that we have. That needs to be released as a podcast for people. They miss out on our
Well, you could just record them and put them on your Patreon for us backers, so we could get something past.
We could do. I mean, we could do that.
Jason,
what we could do?
Jason, go fuck.
Oh yeah,
hit the controller, right?
No. You hear me? You hear me go? Come on, are you fucking serious? That's what I say.
Hear me out. Force Nights,
right?
Force Nights.
But I mean, we could always probably stream it to a Twitch and then just take it down and re-upload it to Patreon. That could be a thing that we do sometimes.
Me complain about lag for 45 minutes and Jason hearing an echo of himself.
Yeah, when that happens, that's pretty weird. But sometimes, I mean, if we knew we were recording, we wouldn't be like, oh man, Rob and fucking Avatar, blah blah. We wouldn't be saying that kind of stuff. It would be totally different conversation, and like what he said about Echo. Echo is never gonna work. Like that. No, I'm kidding, Rob. I'm
okay if people disagree. No, I just don't agree with you. Like
no. You convinced me that Echo sucks even more. that what they're doing.
I understand.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Kathy Kennedy's being blamed for Indy. Like once again, I don't see how they can make that connection, but they clearly make that connection somehow. They do their best to make these things because they saw some red eyes on the avatars. But anyways, we'll be back tomorrow if there's any news. We keep saying if there's any news, but then there happens to be some. And then
willing it again, Jason. This is what we do. Now we have a book coming out.
We do, yeah. I bought the book, and when the book comes out, the minute it comes out, I'm gonna start listening to it. I'm gonna pull the snippets of the book.
40 pages of Star Wars stuff.
40 pages. I'm gonna pull them, and I'm gonna send it to you. You're gonna transcribe them for the Bestman Bulletin articles.
And will then get read on here. There's just
and then I'll read them on here. Might play some clips. I don't know how far we could go with that, but might play some clips. I'm definitely going to mostly read the articles, and then so we'll be able to bring you what that book is saying, and then after I listen to it, I'll obviously probably just bang out a review of it as well, because at that point I will have done the work and tell you if you should actually read that book.
More interesting stuff as well. Outside of just Lucasfilm, they are doing SNL. I think they're doing some stuff with Warner Brothers. There's a lot of seemingly interesting stuff in there.
Yeah. It's probably Horatio Sands dating fucking 10-year-olds and shit. Remember when he was in Mandalorian? Now he's not. That's why. But we will be back tomorrow, and next week we'll have that stuff. And then tomorrow, I'm sure we'll learn that Taika's cracked the third act or something, and Kathy Kennedy says it's coming out in 2023. Something like that. But all right, guys, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks again. Thanks you for being a channel member, for supporting the show, or a Patreon supporter of me or Bespin or Rob, and all that jazz. And bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.